All right, we are going live with the Picket Frame, trying to figure out some technical challenges. See if we need to switch platforms for next week, but either way, this will be recorded and available. So I'm just gonna wait to see if I can get a few people here and that can hear me. Oh, got it? All right, I got feedback. Can you put in a comment if you can hear me? It's kind of windy today, so this will be interesting. Perfect. Okay, cool. Well, let's start. I think it's just Mom and Megan on here right now. I think I lost one or two people transitioning, but good. This will be good practice. Okay. So I'm going to set you over here, and hopefully the wind will not blow it away. I'm going to turn up my volume. So let me know. I'm going to put this here and let me know if you have troubles hearing me once I am not right at the camera. Okay. Okay. All right, can you still hear me? I'll move it a little bit closer. Oh, maybe a little more. Okay. I know, I feel like we should do a Zoom video so that we can, actually I can see you. So maybe next time we'll have to try that. But for now, okay, cool. All right, so you can hear me, that's good. Hello, welcome. This is Laura, my instructor, and this is our first live DIY class, so thank you for being here. Today we're making Picket Frame, so this is kind of what a finished one could look like. This one has been painted. I also have some other versions, so you can kind of get a little creative and do something like that where the wood's a little bit staggered, or instead of having this as your front, you can make this the back, and that could be your front if you want. So the little clothespins are going to be the things that attach the photos, so just kind of think about which side you want, kind of what kind of look you want. So you can have kind of this like nice like flat side, or you can have this back side. The one thing you want to think about is when we put the hanger on, you're going to want to make sure that, oh good, we got more people. Yay! Okay. Cool. So when you put, wherever you hang this, you're going to want this, your hanger piece. If you just have one, you're going to want to make sure you center it. So it has to go between, or has to get nailed into both layers of wood. So or else otherwise the nails will poke out the other side. So I guess you could cut those off with like a pliers or something. But just think about that when you're doing your design. So I'm just gonna build it I'm gonna probably build this version today just to have a little bit of variation because I have a couple of the other kinds. So I'm gonna walk you through this one. And if you have the guide downloaded, you can look at that too, but we can just follow along. So hopefully you have your pieces of wood all cut to length, because we're not gonna be talking about that right now. And if not, this video will be recorded, so I will post it after we're all done, and then you can go back and make sure, and build it that way. So, so you can just watch while we go through it the first time if your wood isn't ready. Okay, so the first step, so I've got all my wood pieces cut, all of them cut. So I've got 5 of the wider width and then 2 of the narrower width. So the first thing you're going to want to do if you haven't already done that is grab some sandpaper. This is like a little sanding foam pad, but you can just use a piece of sandpaper. And then you're just going to want to sand any little like burrs kind of off the edges that were cut. So mainly, you don't have to get too crazy. You don't have to really sand the face of the wood unless it's rough. But just to get those little pieces of like kind of splinters, spurs off. And you don't need to spend a ton of time to do this. It's easier to do it now before you put it all together. I also have the camera facing me so I can see if you're typing any comments, so just let me know if for some reason, if you have questions or if you can't hear me. So just a little quick, just basically just kind of like right on the end, like there's like little burrs I can end up there. It's kind of already seen that one, but like, let's see if I do it like this. There's like little burrs from the cuts, and it's not too bad, but it's just nice to get a little bit more finished so that you can just be ready to paint when you're done putting it together. You don't have to do any more sanding. Okay, I got 3 people. Kind of weird doing this by myself, but I guess that's the reason for maybe doing a Zoom video, so then you can see everybody else if they're using their cameras. That could be maybe more fun next time. Okay, how's everyone doing? I'm getting down to grab a few more pieces. Yeah, normally we're out in the community doing DIY classes, but due to COVID, everyone's staying home. We're trying to do some at-home videos, and as long as you're able to go out and get materials or have some at home, I think we will be able to keep going on these. So every Saturday we'll do a different project. I was going to pick a project for next week, but I haven't done that yet, so I will keep you posted. Maybe I'll try to pick one out after we get done today on this one. So we have a bunch of projects up on our website, enterstructa.com/DIY projects. So you go to enterstructa.com, click on the DIY projects tab, and then there are pictures there of all the projects. And if you click on the picture, then you can get the guide. So you can do that whenever you want, but we're also going to be building a good amount of those, and then once we have built most of those, then we'll probably, depending on how long we're at home, might add on some new projects. So we do classes with people locally, and we've had to cancel some of our classes, and we were starting a homeowners DIY series, so try to integrate those kind of classes into this as well. Okay, so done sanding, maybe just put in yes or no. I don't know if I should wait or move on. And maybe just let me know if you're just watching and not building. Megan, are you guys done? Okay. So if you're done sanding, just figure out what kind of pattern you might want to make. So you could either do, you know, kind of like I showed, like just do a kind of an all straight across approach. If you're someone who likes to measure, you can start to mark out lines like, you know, if this is an inch down, you can mark that out on these vertical pieces. So you can either do that, or you can just eyeball it and get it to look everything lined up. Or, you know, if you kind of want to explore some different patterns, you can kind of, I've seen people do stuff like, it's kind of hard to hold on here, but stuff like this where it's kind of a cascade down, or even, let's see, get on the table, or something even like that. Kind of different things, but just think about wherever you want to put your picture. So like here, the way this is designed, I think this is about 3/4 of an inch to an inch down where these pieces are, and so there's enough space here to fit a 4x6 photo. So just kind of think about what kind of photo you might put in there. I know some people have done these where they've wanted to put more than one photo, and they could just put smaller ones, and they use more clothespins. So you can kind of think about that too. So once you kind of figure out like what your pattern is, like maybe you look at your wood and see if there's one side or the other that looks like you want it to be your front side. So you can just look at your pieces of wood, see if you want to think about that. If you're not, you don't have to paint, so you can just leave the wood natural too. But if you want to like kind of like look at the grain and that kind of thing, just like look at how like some of this grain is really nice. It'd be kind of nice just to like leave it as it is. But if you're planning on painting, it probably doesn't matter quite as much like which side is facing the front. So just lay out your project. Okay. Maybe figure out, like think about if you have a top and a bottom, or if it doesn't matter. So one other thing I know some people like to do is do this. So again, that would be like having your picture going down this way, so having clothespin up here. But then when you put your hanger on the back, you almost want to have two hangers. So like one here where it's the two pieces are overlapping, and one here, unless you cut your nails shorter. So you could do that too. Okay, how's everyone going? Between the boards. Oh, good question. How much space between the boards? So we're gonna get into that next. So this kind of just a general design is good to start. And then what I like to do once you get your design figured out, let's see, can you see the table okay? Should I back up a little bit? So basically kind of the quick answer of space between the boards, I like to start with I'm going to just pick this up so you can see better, but I like to start with my pieces that are on the outside. So I like to mean, there's different ways to do this, but you can make the flush. So flush is when the boards are in the same plane. So like the outside of the vertical piece is the same as the horizontal piece. So I like to start with those, and when I'm gluing and nailing them together, I do that, and then I would do the bottom piece. So I kind of make this frame, and then we'll just fill in the middle pieces. So so you can do that, or if you can also get even more creative, like, you know, if you don't want them exactly lined up, you can also like kind of do an overlap like that, where it hangs over a little bit. You're just gonna have you could have no gaps, so you could do that too. I didn't say that earlier, but you could have the pieces lined up like that, and then just have an overhang on each end. Okay, thanks for your comments. That's helpful. Okay, so once you figure out your design, I'm gonna get mine back in where it was. So I'm gonna do the staggered option and just kind of eyeball measurements. Okay, so you're going to want to glue, ideally, and you're going to also want to nail. So your glue is going to be what's going to hold this together long term, and then your nails are going to be, they're kind of acting as clamps. You could just use nails, but it's possible that it'll fall, it might not stay as together as well. Another tool, I'm not sure if this is on the tool list, but if you have a little needle nose pliers, that can be really helpful when you're putting on these like tiny nails that are this tiny, so you don't end up hammering your fingers. So that's a trick I like to use. If you have a pliers floating around somewhere, go grab that if you don't have that right now. And then when we are gluing, we want to make sure not to use too much glue, like enough glue but not too much, because you could also stain these instead of painting, and if you decide to stain, any glue that oozes out in the sides, it gets absorbed by the wood, and so then the stain doesn't want to take the same as the rest of the wood, so it kind of can look discolored. So especially if you're going to stain, I would recommend just kind of easing up on the glue. If you're going to leave it just in the natural wood, same thing. Otherwise, I mean, either way, it's good to not use too much, but if you're painting, you can kind of hide it a little bit more so you don't have to be quite as careful. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna have all your wood lined up. You wanna make sure it's pretty close to where it's going. Like kind of get your spacing pretty close, because we're gonna put glue on each of these horizontal pieces, and then we're gonna lay it down on the wood, so it's gonna be in place. Probably another way you could do this to kind of think about your gluing, but I'm gonna make mine not quite as much like that. Okay. Trying not to be a perfectionist and like have everything perfect. Okay, so we're gonna pick up one of your horizontal pieces. You're gonna put a little bit of glue on. You grab your glue. Hopefully your glue is open and ready. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on. So you could just do one streak across, which is fine, because even where the gaps are in the vertical pieces, it won't show because it's gonna be on the back side. I know some people like to do one dab per each vertical piece. You can do that if that feels better to you, but I'm just going to do just a nice kind of, I'm gonna try. I think this is what I dried up when I should have brought another glue out here. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna do a little glue there. I mean, you could do a paintbrush or something and like paint it on more, but that's kind of about how much glue I like to put on there. And so you can see it's pretty much right in the middle, so that when I squish it down and to nail the pieces, it's not gonna ooze out the sides, hopefully. So, and that's probably even more than you really need. Okay, so really important, before you make this touch your other wood, especially if you're leaving it natural or staining, make sure you put down right where you want it, or at least pretty close. So I'm going to put it right there. And I'm just going to start with my top piece. And again, so now I'm going to get ready for my nails. So, oh, you know what? Oh, there's another technique too that I didn't have us do. I'll do it on the next one. So sometimes when you use glue, and you get a lot of glue, it can slide around a lot. So it's kind of good to pre-start your nails. And we didn't do that on this one, so we'll do it. We can try that out in the next one. Then this way you can compare and see what you like better. So you're gonna start with nails on your two outside pieces. So where the horizontal piece touches the outside vertical piece, that is gonna be the first place you put a nail. So you're gonna have, if you have your pliers, you're gonna get your nail, put it in there so you don't hammer your finger, and then, this is a really good technique for kids, but I find that, or people with bigger hands, so you're gonna have your nail there, and you can just hammer. It helps if your surface is more solid, so I'm just using a folding table, which is probably not the best surface in the world, but, so I'm just gonna get my nail in there, and I'm just gonna maybe check it a couple times to make sure it's going where I want it to go. If you have another helper, that can be useful to help hold on to things. It's not a very good. I'll have to maybe make myself a better work surface for next time. Okay. Or I'm gonna get a new nail. That one is that. Okay. So sometimes with your nails, if you do that, especially with these tiny ones, it's easier just to grab a new one. Okay. Bouncy. Imagine I do this with classes of anywhere from 15 to 40 people, so it gets to be really loud, and so it's kind of nice just to be able to record when we're doing it. Okay, so I have the one side in, and I'm going to do other side. So I'm going to try my technique, and sometimes this is just makes things more challenging, so also it kind of works better if your nail is kind of farther up into the pliers, so you have a little bit more grip on there. I didn't do it first. So I like to kind of get started until the pliers, there's no more space, and then just go for the rest of it. Okay. So my surface is moving around a lot, so that doesn't make the glue easier to not be spread, but I'm not going to worry about it too much because I'm probably going to end up painting this, so that's fine. Okay, so once you get your two end pieces, let's see if there's any comments. Oh, nail right in the middle. Yeah, it can be kind of right in the middle, like where the two pieces of wood overlap. It doesn't really matter. It's like generally where you really only need one nail per each wood overlap, because then eventually, like, ultimately the glue is going to be your kind of more permanent fastener. So your nails are just acting as clamps. But if you want aesthetically to have more nails, so you can kind of have like that kind of frame, then you can do that too. So, okay, any other questions? Okay, so then as far as spacing, so what you can do next is to get the next three boards. So we're working on the same horizontal piece. We're not even touching this other one yet. I'm just gonna put this over there. Then you're going to put your next three nails in. So as far as spacing, you can grab a tape measure and measure if you want, or you can just kind of eyeball the spacing and just see if they all look kind of like evenly spaced out how you want them. And so side to side, and then also this way. It's kind of nice if you do a stagger like this because you can kind of hide if there's any, if they aren't quite exactly, in the same exact place. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna do it. Get another nail. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna do, I think I'm gonna do the middle one first. Yeah, generally a folding table is not the best work surface, but it works pretty well if you need to overlap it. So just get a temporary work surface. Okay, and then 2 more. So before I start nailing, I'm going to check my other pieces spacing. Sometimes when you start the nail too, it'll move things around a bit, so you can readjust before you sink the nail away. Okay, 1 more. Okay, cool. So now your wood should look like this. All the pieces are attached, so you can still kind of like move them, obviously. So that's the other reason for glue, is that it helps with your potential side-to-side movement. So if you don't glue it, the frame can kind of move around a little bit. But once the glue dries, it'll be nice and strong. So everybody there? Put these on a little bit more. Okay. I don't recommend necessarily picking them up, because then they kind of can move around a lot. Okay, is everyone ready for the next piece? Okay, so you can put on the other horizontal the same as we did the first time, or I'll show you the other way to get your nails started before we actually start gluing. So that can make it a little bit easier, because once you get the glue on the back, it kind of like moves, as you maybe saw, it moves around a lot. So if you want to try this other way, you could try that, where basically you are going to put your wood down without any glue on it onto where you want to put it on your frame. And then you're just going to grab your nail and get it started so it's sticking up in the wood and it's able to stand up all by itself. So it's ready. It's almost to the point of where it's poking through the other side, but not quite. So you can start again on your ends and just kind of find the middle of where the overlap is. These little nails are definitely challenging to use. Okay, so I got one. I'm going to do one on the other side. So you're kind of just lining it up Luckily we have a lot of space to work in here, so it doesn't really matter if it's like perfectly in the middle. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill in the middle 3. So basically I'm gonna have 5 nails started in this one piece of wood before I actually nail everything together. And we're gonna add glue still, so we will get there. I have more pieces because they are smaller. Okay, yeah, if you have more pieces, that is fine. So this is going to be what it looks like. You're going to have all your nails sticking up outside the wood, or into the wood, so they're not poking through the other side. And so then once you're here and you have your nails all ready to go, then you can add your glue. So this way, this is helpful because you started your nail when you didn't have glue on there, so you can kind of get them going before everything gets slippery. So again, use your glue, put, this has been wintering in my trailer, so it's not super runny apparently. Okay, so there you go. Again, that's probably more than I need, but all right, so then when you're ready, make sure you put it down on your other pieces right where you want it, so you don't have to move it around too much, so you don't end up with glue. So put it right about there. And then again, I'm just gonna start with my end pieces to make sure my edges of my wood are flush. And I'm gonna hold it, and then this way is kind of nice because you, instead of having to hold your pliers and the hammer at the same time and try to like make sure your wood doesn't move around, now you can use one hand to hold the wood carefully so you don't hit your fingers. Hold that in place and put some pressure down, and then use your hammer. Nails in, and then we're going to move to the other side. Again, I'm just eyeballing all this, so if you're measuring, you can get your tape measure out and double check everything before you nail it together. Okay, so I got my end pieces, and then I'm gonna finish nailing the middle. So I'm gonna check my spacing, and that looks good. I'm gonna start with the middle one. Start to check. This one looks so crooked, so this might be a little challenge. Okay. All right. There you go. So your frame should look like that. Yeah. Or however you made it. So as you can see, if you didn't have glue, it can kind of move around a lot. So right now it can too when it's wet. So We'll dry it, so make sure it dries in the right position that you want it. So once, is everybody here? So let me maybe type in a yes. Got one yes. No. Okay, we'll wait for a second. I'm gonna actually take mine to the floor and just hammer some of these nails in a little bit better so it's not so bouncy. That's another good little strategy if you are working on a bouncy table. Take it to the floor. Got a good surface for that. Oh, nails come through. Okay, well, if your nails come through, then you can grab a like a diagonal cutter or some kind of cutter that can cut off the nails, the tip of the nails, and cut those off. And you can do that now, or you can do that later. Or instead of cutting them, you could grab your hammer, flip your project over, and kind of bend, like hammer the nails sideways so they bend in, which is kind of nice because it helps give it a little bit extra clamping power. So if they are a little long, that's fine. You can just kind of do that. And I would do that now if you want to do that technique of they're poking through to hammer them a little sideways so that they flatten out on the backside. I would do that now. Yeah, I'm using, I think these are 1/2-inch nails, and I can't remember what thickness my wood is, but it's pretty much perfect match. So that's one thing when you look for nails, especially when you're working with such a thin material. It's kind of hard to find ones that are short enough, but generally you want to go into the wood enough, but not so that it doesn't come out the other side. But sometimes it's hard to find the right size of nails, especially when working on smaller projects. Okay, you ready for the next step? Okay, so the next step is going to be, so whatever your front side is, so I've decided this is my front side, so I'm going to flip it over to the back side, and I'm going to put my hanger here. So I'm going to put my hanger, I'm just going to use one hanger. I'm going to put it in this middle board, right where the two pieces of wood overlap, again, so that my nails aren't poking through the front side, hopefully. So if you end up with nails, if you have nails that are longer than the thickness of your wood, then you might have to end up, it might be good to pre-cut them so you don't have to cut them off later, so they don't poke all the way through. So if you can do that with a some kind of cutter tool, that could be a good idea. Otherwise, if they are longer, just cut them off once you nail them through. So, and then also when you think about that too, figure out which is your top and your bottom. So that, for me, it doesn't really matter. Like that could be the top, or that could be the top. Maybe I'll do that as the top. So you want to make sure you put your hanger on. So I've got my hanger. Put your hanger on so that whichever is hanging, so this is the top. This is the top of my frame. So you want to make sure the teeth are pointing down so that when you hang it on the wall, it's going to sit like that versus if you flip the teeth around like that, then to actually hang on the wall it would end up like this, and that would not work because it would just fall over. So make sure your teeth are facing down and that you're installing your hanger where both of your pieces of wood, your horizontal and your vertical piece, overlaps, and try to center it as much as you can. No glue on this one, just nails. Okay. I like to keep my nails inside the container while I'm building, otherwise I end up bouncing everywhere. So I'm going to use my pliers again. I'm going to make sure my hanger's in the right spot, centered, and then line up the hole. Get started. I'm going to start my other one. Okay, I'm going to drive you in. It's wanting to bend. It's hard if you've got a bouncy surface, so bam. There you go, hanger. Okay, so then you're ready for your next step, which is going to be putting on your clothespins. So a couple things. If you got just plain colored wood ones and you're planning to paint them the same color as the background, or if you want to paint them something separate, you can mask them off after you're done painting the background. Otherwise, if you have colored ones, I've had color ones before, and sometimes you might want to paint the back before you put the colored ones on, because otherwise you're going to end up possibly, especially if you're spray painting, I mean, you could mask them off as well. But you could put them on later. Generally, it's best practice to glue wood to wood, so bare wood to bare wood, before you do any finishes. So that's what I would recommend, if that makes sense to you. And then the other thing is, I've done these with 1 or 2 clothespins, so again, just kind of think about how many pictures you want to be hanging. If you just want to hang 1 picture, I would say use 1 or 2 clothespins. So like on this one I made, I have 2 clothespins to hang a picture. It gets a little tricky to hang a picture when you have 2, because you got to kind of put one edge of the picture in and the other, versus just doing 1 in the center. So this is just 1 in the center, so that just can pretty easily grab a picture. So whatever you think, whatever you want to do, or you could do, if you're doing smaller pictures, you could do 1 in the middle, maybe 1 here, 1 here. You could have a vertical, so you could put 1, like, I might do that this time. I might do 1 down here where I have it sticking up, so that if I could clip another picture in from down here, it just kind of looks a little bit more interesting. So I might actually do that on this one. So to do that, it's good if you have like a little paper towel or something to put glue on, or a piece of scrap wood or something. So if you want to grab that, Just because you can directly put glue on your clothespin, but sometimes it ends up being too much, so you kind of want to dab it around. So you could do that. You could do this and just get some on here. Luckily, my glue is not coming out very fast, so I don't really need to dab it around. But so I've got like this much glue. But if you add more glue, you could take this and just like dab it on a towel, so you don't have so much glue that oozes out everywhere. And then I'm going to figure out where my top of my frame is, and then I'm going to stick this clothespin down. I'm going to press on it a little bit. Generally these aren't, it's going to take a little bit for that to dry, so when you press it down, I'd recommend, so I'm going to pick it up, but it's possible it might fall, but just let that dry there for a little bit before you do any other finishing. So maybe like, probably like you really only need like 5 or 10 minutes, but maybe a little bit more. So just, if it does fall off, if there's not enough glue, just add some more glue and then stick it down and try again. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to add 2 more. Ooh, that one got kind of a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do for that in that instance, instead of dabbing, I'm going to actually, since I know I'm going to do one more, I'm going to take them together and just share the glue. That way I'm not wasting glue. Okay. And then put them down where I want them. Kind of press them down. Sometimes they don't really want to stay very well, so just try to get them in place, and then I guess if you had a clamp or something, you could use that to clamp down from the wood behind here into the clothespin. So just pretty gently, because these clothespins are not super strong, and they can kind of fall apart. So anyway, it'll look something like this, depending on how you made yours. And then after this, so I would let this dry for a little bit until you want to put a finish on it, if you decide to do a finish. And what I used on this one was I lost my sandpaper. I don't know where that went. I was going to show. Let's see if I can find it. Super windy out here today, so everything's just blowing away. Okay, I don't know where that went, but anyway, there's these chalky paints. So here's an example. This is a different color than what I used on this one, but chalky paints is an option that you can use. You can spray paint it on, maybe do a couple of passes, and then once it's dry, you can take your sandpaper and just kind of scuff up the edges to make it look kind of rustic. So you could try that, or you can just try a regular plain colored paint, or a stain, or just leave it plain. And then when it's all dry and you're ready to hang it up, then you can add your picture in here, and you're good to go. I should have brought a picture. That would have been a good idea. Anyway. Yeah, there it is. Let's see if I don't think I have anything out here. So, okay. Cool, did everyone get there? Get theirs put together? So, yeah, let me know when you're done with it, if you can post a picture of it to my Facebook page under Structa. That would be awesome. And you can post one with or without yourself. Of course, mine is turquoise. Yes, turquoise. I love. That's my favorite color. So. I'm wondering where my sandpaper went now. It disappeared away somewhere. You can see it, but perhaps I will find it and then do a little sanding demo of what it kind of looks out like when it gets scuffed up a little bit. So, and then I'll post it. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. I'll post a picture for the next project that we're going to do next Saturday. So, planning to do these at noon Pacific time. So let me know if that works for you or if there's a better time. But for now, that's the plan. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Okay, I'm going to end the video, but we can chat after this too, since catch up. Okay, cool. Thanks for all your comment. Bye. Yep, I'll let you know what materials we need. There'll probably be another project off the website, so bye.